Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Naily by Nature. My name is Naily. If you are new to this channel, on this channel we talk about spirituality, law of attraction, social issues, international news, self-improvement, self-actualization. So if any of those topics interest you, please remember to hit the subscribe button and support your girl and join this wonderful community that we are building here. Comment below. I love hearing from you guys, and thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it. So let's jump right into today's video. So I read this really interesting article about 2 days ago, and it was actually by the New York Times. I have it pulled up here, and I really wanted to make a video about this article because I think that this article says something more about our country, and I think it's really important what they were trying to tell us in this article. So basically, right now, congressional Democrats are writing up a bill that they are trying to pass through both the House and the Senate. And as they are writing up this bill, they are discussing taking out some of the most important and most popular provisions. So some of these provisions include lowering the cost of drugs in this country, pharmaceutical drugs, despite the fact that overwhelming amount of Americans are for lowering the cost of pharmaceutical drugs. In this final bill, it might not be included. Or the fact that most Americans want to tax the ultra rich and the ultra wealthy. This might not be included in this bill that they're writing up. And the same goes for expanding Medicare to include dental, hearing, and vision. And so, despite the fact that these provisions are overwhelmingly popular amongst Americans, Democrats are discussing to take these provisions out. So in this article, they basically go into detail about why the Democrats are actually considering taking out the most popular parts of this bill. And the first reason that they discuss in this article is the power of lobbying. So I just want to read to you guys a paragraph from this article. It says here, most Americans favor lower drug prices, but there is no powerful grassroots group devoted to the issue. And there is a major lobbying group on the other side, pharma, which represents the drug industry. It has helped persuade a few Democrats to oppose a reduction in drug prices. Do you guys understand what they're telling us in this article? They're saying that because we the people did not organize and create a grassroots organization to ensure that our elected leaders do their job, do what they say, because we didn't organize and create that grassroots organization, the ultra rich, the wealthy, these multi-trillion-dollar drug industries can literally persuade our elected leaders to do what they want instead of being there for us, instead of having our back, instead of doing what they were elected to do, which is to ensure that they are creating a just society for us, that they are creating a better world for us, the people. They're easily being targeted by these lobbyist groups because they're paying these Democrats to, and not just Democrats, this goes for Republicans as well. Like, just because this article is about Democrats taking out these really popular parts of this bill doesn't mean that Democrats are the only ones doing this. Republicans are doing this too. There's no politician that is on our side. And that is basically what this video here is about today, is that Republicans and Democrats are the same people. In the following paragraph in this article, it says here, another example of interest group politics are the tax increases on the wealthy and corporations. Tax rates on the affluent are near their lowest levels in decades. To keep them there, groups representing the interests of the wealthy have enlisted some of the most effective lobbyists in Washington, former members of Congress. This entire article is basically telling us that American politics is fucking corrupt. And it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat, all of these politicians are taking money from the ultra rich. And they're not, our elected leaders are not here for us. They are here for the ultra rich. They are not here to support us. And I think that it's so important that we as Americans start to like really understand this, because the way people are so loyal to politicians, it's actually a bit disturbing, because the way people are attaching themselves to political leaders and, you know, idolizing these politicians and worshiping them in the way that people worship Barack Obama or Donald Trump or AOC or Bernie Sanders, JFK, Ronald Reagan, like all these politicians in the past, right? When you attach yourself to a politician in that way and you go hard for them, when that politician makes a mistake, because you've attached yourself so hard to that politician, you start to justify the bullshit that they do. And the thing is, politicians are supposed to support us. So it's okay that we call them out when they do shit that is fucked up. Okay? And the thing is, American politics is so corrupt that they have divided the country into two parties. So most Americans don't want to fit into this two-party system. Statistics show that majority of Americans want a third party, because people are realizing that neither of the two parties that we have in this country actually care about its citizens. Like, the reason that Democrats are taking money or Republicans are taking money from any lobbyist groups is because it's so expensive to run a campaign in this country. It's so expensive. And when you think of average Americans who probably actually have the best interests of this country and they want to run for office, they have to get money from somewhere. And the further up you get in politics, the more money you'll need. The more deals you'll have to make. The more you'll have to negotiate. You'll have to negotiate your values. And that's just the way the establishment is set up. So no one is here to save Americans. That's what my video is about. No one is here to save us. No politician. So this week, AOC was slammed because she voted present or took no official position on a bill that is going to provide $1 billion in a new funding for Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system. As you know, I've made previous videos about this, about the Israel-Palestinian war. Israel is basically occupying Palestinian land. They have been constantly reprimanded for their mistreatment towards Palestinians. And so AOC decided to vote no, not a yes or a no for the funding. And so she was basically crying because of this, because she was in emotional distress over her decision. But it was very obvious that she had to make a decision that was best for her career. And you will realize, if you haven't already, that in America, you cannot make it in American politics without being pro-Israel. If you are pro-Palestine, you will be called anti-Semitic. And I think AOC was very well aware of this. And so she decided to put her values aside, and she just decided, I'm not going to vote yes or no. And this decision of hers might have been her way of trying to preserve her possibility of challenging Chuck Schumer in a 2022 primary. So I don't really know the reasoning behind her doing that, because I know that she was very much for Palestinians and she supported the Palestinians. So for her to vote no, to vote present and to give no support to either party basically shows that she had to make a decision that did not feel well for her morally. And I think that that is basically the truth of American politics, is that it's an incredibly flawed and corrupt system. And that if you at some point will have to negotiate your values. You will have to negotiate what you are fighting for in politics to make it. To make it. And the thing is, no matter how high up you go, you'll never actually be able to implement the changes you want, because you'll always have to make the deal with the devil. And it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. You know, I want to make sure that people understand this. It's like, you have to look at Democrats and Republicans in this way. It's like your mom who tells you, do you want an apple or an orange? You're still getting a fruit, but you're feeling like you're choosing, right? You're feeling like you get to choose apple or orange. But at the end of the day, you're still getting a fruit. And that's basically how I can explain American politics about Democrats and Republicans. We're in this two-party system, and despite that majority of Americans don't agree with either parties, we're forced into choosing. And once we get forced into choosing, it feels like people feel like they have to justify and they have to defend the party or the politicians they support. And the thing is, the only thing you actually have to defend, you don't even have to defend. The only thing you have to worry about is staying loyal to your values, to staying loyal to who you are, to your values. Okay, you can't put all your loyalty, you can't put loyalty onto any politician, because they probably won't do right by you. And it's important that we stop defending politicians who are not doing enough for us, okay? This article is basically telling us that the rich control this country because they have the power and the money to hire these lobbyist groups who can persuade the people that we elect and we have faith in, that they can persuade them to do anything that they want. So who's coming to save Americans, right? If we have such a flawed system, we have fucked up politicians, we have, the ultra rich trying to control us, who's actually fighting for us, right? We think that we're doing our job by voting, but once we vote, and that politician needs support, that politician needs money, who are they going to? It's these lobbyist groups. They have to make deals. They have to make deals not only with these lobbyist groups and these interest groups. They have to make deals with other politicians, other party members, other people in Congress. They have to make these deals to get shit done. And so in the process, they're letting go of things that they cared about. And I want to say this about even Barack Obama, whose book I read. And when I read his book, I can see that this man really cared about Americans. He really cared about people. Like, if you've read his book and you've learned, you followed his career, Barack Obama really gave a shit about Americans. Like, he was working 5 jobs. He was, working with grassroots organizations. He would work 5 jobs and still, show up in churches and try to rally up communities. Like, he cared. And as he climbed the ladder in politics, he had to make deals. He had to negotiate. And sometimes these negotiations you do with other politicians, with other lobbyist groups, the truth is, it cost human life. And AOC's decision to not vote yes or no for an Iron Dome that's being built for Israel, that has constantly been slammed for human rights violations towards Palestinians. Like, this bill will inevitably cost more Palestinian lives. It will cost Palestinians their homes, their freedom. And we are supporting a country that has money. We're supporting a country that already has money to basically occupy and take over another group of people. It's kind of a daunting situation, because it's like, then who do we believe in? Then what do we do? If we live in such a corrupt government, we think that, we have all this freedom, and the truth is, nothing really gets done. And one of the reasons that Democrats make all these deals is because the Democratic Party is split with super liberal people and the people right in the middle, just like the Republican Party. You have the ultra right, and then you have the people right in the middle. And the Democrats are trying to not only support the Democrats, but they're also trying to make well with the Republicans. Republicans and Democrats at the end of the day have to work together. They have to work together. They have to still make deals together. They have to still negotiate. So Democrats are not going to support any ultra left issues, right? Like critical race theory, or ensuring that, that we tax the rich, because the rich is also included in Democrats, okay? There are rich Democrats. It's like Nancy Pelosi. And they're going to do what's best for the people in the middle. And if they are in the middle, they're okay with that. If they're getting paid, they're okay with that. So they don't give a fuck about the people outside of that middle area. And that leaves a lot of people out. Especially when you're talking about the majority of the country wants these things, and then you're running your entire campaign on these provisions, like lowering the cost of pharmaceutical drugs, or taxing the rich, or getting rid of student loan debt. You're running your entire campaign on that, and then when it comes time to write this bill, you just take it out because there's no grassroots organizations lobbying the leaders that said that they would do these things to ensure that they actually do it. Like, do you understand how fucked up this entire situation is? And we're talking about, they're writing this bill as we are coming out of a pandemic that has financially burdened Americans so hard. And it continuously will hit Americans hard in its pockets because the price of everything has risen. And so the government is choosing not to help its people at such a vulnerable time for our country. You're just deciding to not help the people because you are more interested in your own self-interest, which is you, our politicians, ensuring that they have money to campaign again so that they can take money and pocket it for themselves. And I think that's what's so corrupt about our entire government. And Republicans do this even more than Democrats. Like, Republicans, think about someone like Donald Trump we had as president. I don't even want to talk about this man. I didn't even want to mention him, okay? But you're talking about all these politicians who constantly run their campaign saying that they care about people. They care about people. You don't give a fuck about us. You don't care. And I think that it's important that we start to discuss this because all the Democrats and Republicans are doing in our government is dividing us. And if we're divided, then we're easier to control. And I need people to stop having so much loyalty to politicians. You can say whatever you want of Donald Trump. Oh, he was such a great president. This man, before he left, had his supporters storm Capitol Hill. I've never, the chaos in this country while this man was president. The insanity this man would say, like, please don't try to even write in the comment section that Trump was great. Like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. I don't even want to hear it. Like, we had people storm the Capitol Hill, steal critical information, have guns and weapons, attack security guards. Like, that is not someone I would ever want to run this country, ever. So please don't try to even defend him in this conversation, in this video, because I don't really want to hear it. All I'm trying to say is that none of these politicians, I don't think that it's possible for anyone to do right by us, because the way the system is built, it's incredibly flawed. It's incredibly flawed. The fact that we have lobbyist groups who can actually persuade our political leaders by paying them should be illegal. Like, how are politicians running a campaign saying that they're going to do all these things for us and then completely just decide they're not going to do it? And one of the most important things I want to talk about is the infrastructure in America. Infrastructure in America. I watched an entire documentary about the infrastructure in America literally collapsing. And the problem of infrastructure has been passed down from each administration. No administration has been able to tackle this issue. Donald Trump ran his entire campaign saying that he was going to take care of the infrastructure issue. And then when he got to it, he basically said it's the state's issue. And the states were like, we don't have the money. We don't have the money to fix the infrastructure. And the federal government was like, it's not our problem.
Their approach is to take most of the infrastructure, dump it back onto the states, and they know that the states don't have the funding. The states are not going to raise taxes. And it's a way to coerce the states into using public-private partnerships, having Wall Street finance infrastructure. The conflict is Wall Street wants the maximum return on investment. When you have an asset that is the public good, you want the minimum return on investment. So this is their plan, and it's going nowhere, and nothing will be built.
Unfortunately, the Trump plan, as you have heard, is a sham.
The president has said he wants to spend $200 billion. I'm not quite sure where those dollars are coming from.
We're not going to be part of this budgetary flim-flam and pretend you can pay for roads and bridges just out of thin air.
I could have started with infrastructure. I actually wanted to save the easy one for the one down the road.
So these are issues that really matter for our society. You know, infrastructure, bridges, trains, roads, these are things that are incredibly important in creating a progressive society. And the fact that each administration is just choosing not to do anything about it, and each day that passes, the cost of replenishing and fixing and building infrastructure grows millions and millions of dollars. So no one's taking care of the issues that actually matter because, as this article states, there's no grassroots organization, no powerful grassroots organization that is backing this. Why do we need grassroots organizations to ensure that our elected leaders do as they say? Why is our government being run like that? Why are elite, the ultra rich and the elite able to hire lobbyist groups, former Congress members, to persuade our elected leaders to do as the rich want? So what are we really living in? And I think that it's so important that we start to all recognize and have this conversation that no politician is coming to save us. No rich person is coming to save us. The ultra rich don't care. The celebrities don't care. It's only up to us. And this is what this article is basically saying, is that the people, if we want to make sure that change happens in this country, we the people have to organize. That's basically what it said. Electing leaders, fuck voting, because every time, voting season comes around, it's like, your vote counts. Does it really? Does voting actually matter? Because it seems like we have to have a powerful grassroots organization to make sure that the motherfucker that I elect or that I vote for actually does what he said he was going to do or she was going to do. It's so frustrating because it almost feels like there's no hope, because at the end of the day, money is what makes the world go round. Anyone can be paid off. No one seems to be committed to their values. Actually, you know what? I would say Bernie Sanders is. Bernie Sanders, and the fact that Bernie Sanders could not win any presidential election it's actually quite sad. And I think that AOC is definitely Bernie Sanders' successor. But I'm sure that seeing, all the mistakes he made, she's probably like, okay, I'm going to try to ensure I don't make those mistakes so that I can, climb the ladders. I was telling you guys earlier that I read Barack Obama's book and I followed his career, and just seeing how much he cared about Americans and cared about communities in America, and how as he climbed those ladders, he had to make negotiations, he had to make deals, he had to put aside some of the things he valued. And although I admire Barack Obama, I can sit here and say that I didn't like some of the things he did. I didn't think that I felt like he could have done more. I felt like he could have said more. But at the end of the day, I also understand that our system is really flawed. And so even if people truly care about Americans, truly care about helping others, in this country, you will have to let go of some of your values. You will have to constantly negotiate with the devil. And I think that's exactly what AOC is doing. That's what Barack Obama has done. And it's why the Democratic Party is so divided and dysfunctional right now. And I feel like the same thing is happening in the Republican Party as well. The Republican Party can't get their shit together either. And it's because Americans are fed up. Americans are just like, what the fuck is this? We are electing you and we are trusting you to work for us. When you think about it, politicians are like our lawyers, right? They're here to defend us. They're here to support us. We elect them. We're paying them, right? Our tax dollars pay our politicians, our Congress members, our senators, and we expect them to work for us. But then suddenly they're working for the other guy, and it doesn't make sense. It's a really fucked up situation that we have going on here, and it's something that I really want to discuss today because I think it's alarming. I think it's frustrating. And I think that more Americans should start giving a fuck and stop defending politicians and start defending what is right, what is morally right to you, okay? Look at it. Are people dying? Is that okay so that we can have things? Is that something that you can justify in your mind? You know, I think that people don't actually have their values and morals set up. They don't know what they value. So it's easy for them to change what they value depending on the person they put their loyalty in. So you voted for Donald Trump. Yes, I voted for Donald Trump and I have all these good morals. But as Donald Trump said, fucked up shit, I'm going to just move around my values. This man literally went and said he grabs women by the pussies, and majority of white women voted for this man. So what is it that we are all saying? Are we putting our faith into politicians? Or are we putting faith into our community? In us? Because I think that's where we need to put the faith in us. Stop putting your faith in these politicians. Because these politicians will negotiate on your life. They are negotiating on your life right now. And it's easy for them. It's easy for them to be like, yeah, fuck helping these people. I want to get paid. Because politics is a motherfucker in this country. And I'm sure it's not an easy job at all. But anyways, I really want to make this video because this article really struck me and it made me think, like, is there anyone out there that's good, you know? And the people that are good are always being dragged through the mud, you know? It's important. It's important that we have an open discussion about our politics in this country and how America is actually very corrupt. You know, our politicians are not running this country. The ultra rich are. And that's just the truth. The people with the most money will always control this country. And it's just an illusion. Politics, government is just an illusion. And that's the wake up. That is what we need to wake up consciously and recognize, is that this shit is an illusion and no one's coming to save us. They are fucking up this planet. These politicians make deals with oil companies that are fucking up the climate. These politicians are making deals with the drug industry. You know, the fact that pharmaceutical drugs could cost so much in this country and cost so little in others. Countries that are not as progressive as ours. The fact that this country constantly abuses its people and then abuses other countries, and we're all justifying it. We're all justifying America's actions in Afghanistan. We're justifying that Palestinians are dying. We're justifying war. We're justifying the trillions of dollars spent in war. No, we have to understand and recognize that the only people who were profiting were the ultra rich. And everything else is an illusion for us, making it seem like we are together, but we're not together. I think we right now are watching America be dismantled in real time. America feels like it's the structure, everything is being dismantled. And it's just not being televised. Anyways, I would love to know you guys' thoughts on this video. I'll leave a link below to this article. Actually, this article was actually emailed to me by New York Times. So I'll try to find a way to get the actual article. And I'll link it below if you guys are interested in reading it. But let me know you guys' thoughts. You know, do you guys feel like someone is here to save us and that there are really good people? I think for me personally, I don't believe that politicians will save us. I think we the people will save us. If politicians were ever doing their job, America would be paradise, and America's not paradise. America is literally falling apart. Literally, our infrastructure falling apart. So comment below. I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts on this video. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you guys at my very next video. Bye!